All right, welcome to 1.6 graphing relations. So let's first start with exercise 1. What is the definition of a linear relation? So a linear relation is a relation where the points on a line form a straight line. So when you're plotting your input-output table, and coming up with that expression, which is a relation, basically comparing two pieces of data, you're going to form a nice straight line. If it does form a straight line, it is a relation. You need graph paper for this unit, so please, or for this section, so please make sure you're bringing some. And then it says, in this unit, you are going to be graphing your input-output chart. There are 3 things you need to remember when graphing. So write down these 3 points on the next slide. So in this part of your booklet, you're going to write down these following points. So just make sure you have that, your booklet handy. So the first thing is you need 3 titles. And the 3 titles are your main title, your y-axis title, and your x-axis title. Okay, so those 3 titles that you need. Appropriate scales would be, if you're working with numbers, that if you choose to go up by an increment, say by 2s, that you maintain going up by 2s for the whole graph. So in this case, it is incorrect because it goes 2, 4, 6, 8, and then it goes back to 0. So that would be considered incorrect because the scale is not going up consistently. Okay, so whatever scale you use, it is consistently being used all the way through. Same with the y-axis. If you're spacing out your, in this case, these are words. If you did have numbers, if you're spacing them out, make sure that they're spaced the same. Okay, so if you have 2 spaces in between each number, or in this case, word, that they're consistently 2 spaces. Okay. B, appropriate scales. We already mentioned that. C, you need to label your x-axis, which is your horizontal line, and then your y-axis, which is your vertical line. And so one way in which I remember I'm working with the vertical line is it goes down, so that represents my y-axis. Okay. This is really, really important. Your input is always on your x-axis, your horizontal line. Okay, your output, on the other hand, is your vertical. So if we go like this, so our input is always going to be our x-axis, and then our output is always on our y. Okay, remember to plot your x-axis first, then your y. So these would be considered coordinates. So it would be 0, 2. So first off, I would look for my 0 on my x-axis, which is right here, then go up 2. And so that's why the point is there. 1, 6, I look for my 1 on my x, and then I go up to 6. Okay, and there's my next point. And then lastly, 2, 10, I look for my 2 and go up to 10. Okay, so as you can see here, it's going up by the same amount. And if I were to draw a line through each of these dots, you will see that you have a linear relation. You form a nice straight line. So what is wrong with this graph? So we do have a title here. However, we're missing a title here and on our y-axis. It's not labeled, so we need to label these. In terms of the amount going up, I mean, it's hard. In this case right here, it's like, who's your favorite hero? If this is a voting, you can't have 0.5 of a vote. So if I were, I would use whole numbers here. Also, grammatically, if you're working with a title of a person, or in this case, a superhero, make sure that it is capitalized. So labeling your x and y axes, labeling what your x and y axes is. So here for my x axis, I would say the actual type of superhero we're working with. And then here would be the amount of votes. I'm not sure if it is a voting graph, but I'm just going to assume. Appropriate scale, can you have 0.5 a vote? We already spoke about that, and punctuation. Okay, so we're going to get into the next question here. So stay tuned.